Hey everyone, Yan Zhao back again. New update from Wizards of the Coast from their Unearthed Arcana. And I think this is probably one of the best ones recently. One very cool subclass in the fighter, the Rune Knight Fighter, and two not so bad ones in Swarmkeeper Ranger and the of course I forgot the name, the Revived Rogue. So let's take a look. Alright, the Rune Knight, you discover how to enhance your martial prowesses using the supernatural power of runes. The ancient practice started from giants, and you learn the methods first or second hand from them, or maybe from a mystical artisan. Could be you found it carved into a cave or hillside. Maybe you learned the runes from a traveling sage, or you met a giant in person. You study the craft and you learn how to carve and apply the runes yourself. At level 3 bonus proficiencies, you gain proficiency with smith's tools and you learn to speak and write giant. So that's pretty cool. It's baked in that you have the ability to create what you need. Speak, read, and write giant is so-so. You know, in a lot of campaigns you don't meet so many giants unless you're doing the Sword Coast campaign. But hey, it's never bad to know another language. Rune magic. So you learn how to use runes. At level 3, you can inscribe 2 runes on your choice of weapons, armors, or shields. When you finish a long rest, you can touch a number of objects equal to the number of runes you know, and you inscribe a different rune into each object. It must be weapon, suit of armor, or shield. So the rune remains until you finish a long rest, and your object can only bear one of your runes. So you need at least 2 items capable of having one at this time. Each time you gain a level in this class, you can replace one rune you know with a different one. So it's not bad. So here are the options. So if a rune requires a saving throw, it counts as magic. It's a DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Now, this is kind of the crappy part of the Rune Knight, because normally intelligence is a dump stat for fighters. You know, what fighter needs to be intelligent? Rocky Balboa didn't need to get a PhD to be the best boxer in the world. So you're going to have to plan that into how you roll your character. All right, so the first one, the Hill Rune. You have saving throws against being poisoned, and you have resistance against poison damage. In addition, you can invoke the rune as a bonus action, gaining resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for 1 minute. So that's pretty cool. That's, you know, almost trying to make a fighter more like a barbarian with their raging. Okay, so the Fire Rune. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses your proficiency with a tool. Now here, and with another one we'll see in a second, it almost makes sense if you're going to multi-class like a thief. If you had thief's tools with double the proficiency, man, you could pick anything. In addition, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can invoke the rune to summon fiery shackles. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained for 1 minute. While restrained, the target takes 2d6 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. So that is a pretty handy feature. There aren't many things that are good against strength saving throws, but again, this feature is going to be great at lower levels, not so great once you level up and things get stronger. Though maybe against wizards, magic users. All right, the Frost Rune. You have advantage on animal handling and intimidation checks. So that's, I don't know, again, kind of like a barbarian thing, but a little bit weird. Very situational, I guess you'd say. In addition, invoke the rune as a bonus action to increase your strength score by 2 for 10 minutes. Now that is great. That's an awesome amount of extra damage. The increase, you can exceed 20 but not 30. So if you max your normal strength up to 20, you can then get 22, so that's a +6 bonus damage. That's incredible. So this sky or cloud rune, you have advantage on sleight of hand and deception checks. Again, if you're crossing this fighter with rogue, not too bad. In addition, when you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to invoke the rune, cause the target to attack a different creature within 30 feet of you. Well, now that is pretty darn great. If some dragon tries to attack you with its tail, you can, make it hit one of its allies, or maybe your cleric because he's being a jerk and not healing you. All right, stone rune. You have advantage on insight checks and dark vision out to 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, its range increases by 30. 90 feet of dark vision is pretty darn nice, depending on how your DM plays with dark vision. So in addition, when a creature you can see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to have it make a wisdom saving throw. Unless the save succeeds, the creature is charmed for 1 minute. So it just falls asleep. That's a great feature. And the storm rune. While wearing or carrying an object, you gain advantage on on Arcana checks, and you can't be surprised as long as you are not incapacitated. Now, the not being surprised is pretty darn awesome. Again, it's another great barbarian feature that doesn't require dex in this case. And I don't know about the advantage on Arcana. I guess it'd be okay, but you would think other party members would be doing more Arcana checks. In addition, you can invoke the rune to enter a prophetic state for 1 minute. When you or another creature you can see within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll, saving throw, or an ability check, you can use your reaction to cause the roll to have advantage or disadvantage. Now, everyone knows there are certain fights where everything will hinge on one roll, so that's pretty darn handy. All right, 3rd level, Giant Might. Imbue yourself with the might of giants. If you are smaller than large, you become large along with anything you are wearing. If you lack the room to become large, your size doesn't change. So you're basically hulking out, increasing your size. Now this could be very cool if you're playing a Rune Knight who's like a halfling or a gnome or something, that all of a sudden they become gigantic. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Your weapon attacks deal an extra 1d6. You can use this feature twice, and you regain all expended usages when you finish a long rest. All right, level 7, defensive runes. You learn to invoke your runic magic to protect your allies. When another creature you can see within 60 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can use your reaction to grant a bonus to the creature's AC against that attack. The bonus equals 1 plus your intelligence modifier. So if you actually manage to jack that up, that's pretty cool. You could be giving someone +5 to their AC. So it's almost like the shield spell, but for other people. And you get another rune for a total of 3. Great Stature. The magic of your runes permanently alters you. When you gain this feature, roll 3d4. You grow a number of inches in height equal to the roll. So sort of like the Ents Draught. Moreover, the extra damage you deal with your giant might increases to 1d8. That's nice. In addition, you learn 1 new rune of your choice for a total of 4. Level 15. You can invoke each rune you know from your rune magic feature twice rather than once, and you regain all expended usages when you finish a short or long rest. In addition, you learn 1 new rune of your choice from the rune magic feature for a total of 5. In level 18, You learn how to share the rune magic with your allies. When you use your giant might feature, you can choose one willing creature you can see within 60 feet. The chosen creature also gains the benefit of your giant might feature. Yeah, so that's pretty darn cool. Rune Knight is definitely something I'd be interested in playing. I complain sometimes about in these Unearthed Arcana subclasses like Lurker in the Deep. You know, they're very situational. Like, you have to have a real specific kind of campaign to use. But this guy is pretty versatile. I mean, I could see it fitting in pretty much any kind of campaign. And even though some of the effects are similar, it's not really going to be stepping on anyone's toes, except maybe the Barbarian. So the Ranger, the Swarmkeeper. Feeling a deep connection to the world around them, some Rangers reach out through their magical connections to nature, gather a host of phase spirits, take the form of beasts, buzzing insects, fluttering birds, slippery squids, or otherwise. The swarm becomes a potent force in battle as well as helpful, if potentially disturbing. So some swarm keepers, they're outcasts. Others, they like building communities. All right, at level 3, you learn Mage Hand Cantrip if you don't already know it. When you cast it, the hand takes the form of a swarming nature spirits. You also learn an additional spell when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Swarmkeeper spells table. These count as ranger spells for you, but don't count against the number of ranger spells that you know. So we can see here, 3rd level Fairy Fire, 5th level Web, 9th Gaseous Form, 13th Giant Insect, 17th Insect Plague. So they're all pretty good spells, except for maybe Gaseous Form. I don't know, it's kind of so-so. I guess it has its uses, but, you know, it's up to you to find them. So Gathered Swarm, 3rd and 11th level feature. You magically attract a swarm of phase spirits that look like tiny beasts of your choice. They remain in your space, crawling on you or throughout your clothing, or flying and skittering around within your space. As a bonus action, you can agitate the swarm for 1 minute. For the duration, some of the swarm clings to you and your weapons, doing 1d6 force damage to whatever you're attacking, and you can move the creature up to 5 feet towards you or away from you. At 11th level, the extra damage increases to 2d6. So, I don't know, it's a nice to get the extra attack. For me, it's the visual that really makes it. I mean, if your ranger had cockroaches swarming all over him, or better yet, bed bugs, if he was a ranger that was full of what people thought was bed bugs, oh my god, that'd be great. Who would want to fight that guy? All right, 7th level, Writhing Tide. You can condense part of your swarm into a focused mass that lifts or sweeps you along. Whenever you activate your Gathered Swarm feature, choose one of the following additional benefits. Walking speed increased by 10, and you can disengage as bonus action. That's pretty awesome if you have a melee fighter. You can gain a climb speed equal to your walking speed. Climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without making an ability check. This one's kind of interesting because the monk has a similar ability at level 9. But the difference is if they stop while they're walking up a wall or walking on ceilings or whatnot, then they'll fall off. Whereas this seems like you could just stick there. You gain a flying speed of 10 feet and can hover. So I would just love to have this, making my ranger surf down the street on a swarm of bed bugs. Oh man, everybody would get out of your way. Do you know how much money you could extort from like inns and hotel people? Like, hey buddy, you're gonna give me some gold, or I am putting these bed bugs all over your inn. Level 7, Scuttling Eyes. You can magically form one of the spirits from your swarm into a shape of a tiny beast, your choice, for an hour. Can move 40 feet, blah blah blah, all the kinds of movements. The spirit has your senses and telepathically relays what it sees and hears to you. During your turn, you can speak through the spirit, telepathically command it to move and hide, blah blah blah. If it takes damage, it disappears. As an action, you can dismiss a spirit early. If you do, you can magically teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of where the spirit disappeared. That's a pretty nice feature. So earlier, this is kind of the find familiar, I guess, of the Ranger world, which is kind of weird because normally you find like a real animal. So why? It's just kind of a weird build because Rangers seem to be all about nature and finding real animals. So they creatures, I guess, maybe. Storms of minions. Your swarm can expel a seething storm of spirits that drain life from others. You can make a 10-foot sphere that lasts for 1 minute. It's difficult for terrain, and they need to make a con save. On a fail save, the creature takes 2d8 necrotic damage and is blinded until the start of the next turn. Now, the necrotic damage 2d8 at level 15 is kind of but blinding something, that's awesome. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and is blinded. On subsequent turns, use a bonus action to move the spirit up to 30 feet, and if it takes damage, you regain 1d8. So it's kind of so-so, but the nice thing is that you can move it and keep it in play. So it's somewhat like spiritual weapon, but necrotic, and I don't know, level 15, it's so-so. I can see it have its uses. One of the big problems is by the time you're level 15, most of the things that you'll fight have a high constitution, so it seems like it would be easy to beat your spell DC. All right, so that's the Ranger. The Rogue archetype, the Revived. You've had a soul-shaking realization. You've been dead before, yet somehow you are alive again. This life isn't your first. It might not even be your second. Your past life or lives are unclear to you, but you know that passed through the gates of death. The powers of death or some other influence wasn't done with you. You might have convinced a deity to let you return to the material plane. Perhaps you signed a deal with a fiend, or maybe you used an artifact that revived you. Whatever force brought you back, you now know the truth about yourself. That you are one of death's representatives among the living. So this kind of sounds like a revenant. The other thing is, are you sort of like a normal person who had a past life? Like, are you a Buddhist or something? And we'll see in a second, it seems like you're a walking corpse. Okay, tokens of past lives. You remember talents you had in your previous life. When you finish a long rest, you gain one skill or tool proficiency of your choice. You can replace it with another when you finish a long rest. Now, that's pretty cool, but I think as a DM, I would want to tell them, like, hey, think of a couple past lives and pick the skills or tool proficiencies from those lives, and I will allow you to choose from that. Otherwise, your guy is pretty much MacGyver. You can do anything. Revive nature. Your newfound connection to death gives you the following benefits. You have advantage on a saving throw against disease and being poisoned. You have resistance to being poisoned. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. You don't need to sleep. You can just stay motionless for 4 hours. And you remain semi-conscious and you can hear as normal. All those are very cool, but these are also the features of, like, zombies. So, are you zombifying? Like, how does that work character-wise? You grew up, you went to high school, and then at like 18, you start turning into a zombie because you realize you had past lives? I don't know. Gives you a chance to be inventive with that backstory. Bolts from the grave. You learn to unleash bolts of necrotic energy from within your revived body. Immediately after you use your cunning action, you make a ranged spell within 30 feet, provided you haven't used sneak attack. You are proficient with it and add your dex modifiers to attack and damage rolls. So this is basically giving you the ability to sneak attack with a ranged magical attack. So that's not bad. Level 9, connect with the dead. You create a link to your spirit and you cast Speak Dead. And intelligence is your spell casting ability for the spell. So again, this seems to be a big feature. And normally you might pick intelligence as a dump stat for rogue. Maybe not. I mean, there are a lot of handy things that intelligence would do as a secondary stat, but I don't know, you better make sure to pump it up. So when you speak it to it in this way, you gain a capability from past life. You don't know if it's yours or the spirit's. When it ends, you get a benefit from the random table below. So there's 3 possibilities. 1, you learn how to speak and read and write one language of your choice. The second is you gain 1 skill or tool proficiency of your choice. And the third, you gain proficiency with 1 saving throw of your choice. Now, 3 is by far the best, because who wouldn't want to have advantage on all those dex saves? Or maybe as a rogue, you probably have good dex, so maybe you'd want on all those wisdom saves against various spellcasters out there. Number 2, gain another skill or tool proficiency. You already can do whatever you want. What do you want another skill proficiency for? So level 13, Audience with Death. When at death's door, you can converse with the powers of death. You have advantage on death saving throw, and whenever you make a death saving throw, your spirit can ask an entity of death a question which can be answered with yes, no, or unknown. It will answer truthfully using the knowledge of all who have died. In addition, when you have 0 hit points and are healed or stabilized, you can change any of your personal characteristics, personality, trait, ideal, bond, or flaw. So I guess a past life would be coming to the forefront. Now this ability, I don't know. As a DM, I'm definitely going to limit this, because what's to stop people from, like your own party members, from killing your character? Waiting until they make 2 death saving throws to ask these questions, and then hitting them with a cure wound, and just repeating it infinitely until they get answers that they want. This is a very cool feature. I like the way it's played. I might limit it to, well, you can only do this in combat, or maybe in some other rare areas where it's not like a suicide type thing. But cool, but easy to abuse. And level 17, Ethereal Jaunt. Like a ghost, you can slip in and out of the ethereal plane. Basically, use cunning action to teleport to an unoccupied space 30 feet around you. You can't attempt to go through a magical force that is medium or larger. And if you try to go to a space that's filled with a creature or an object, you will be shunted to the nearest possible unoccupied space and take force damage equal to twice the number of feet you're shunted. So that's a minimum of 10 damage from that. It's a cool ability. I don't know about level 17. That's a little bit late, it seems to me. Other classes will get a similar effect earlier on. But overall, not a bad addition. So what do you guys think? Are these subclasses something you'd like to play? Can you see yourself coming up with cool backstories and cool characters with these? I want to hear. Let me know down below in the comment section. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to know what you guys are looking for. So, Yan Yan Jiao signing off. I will see you guys again soon.